Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships for our Monday video, which originally I had a different video planned, and this development blog appeared. And so we're going to talk about this development blog now. And apparently I was so dented when I touched this development blog that the software video I was using recording software I was using, I didn't even have the vocals on. So I sat here for 35 minutes going over this development blog, giving you my first impressions, and all you had was a video with no audio background, no commentary by FlimsyLunchTray. So I'm going to attempt to take what I did in 35 minutes and do it in 20, if not shorter. Because I had to really think through these changes. I don't normally cover development blogs unless they're significant. This is a significant development blog on aircraft carriers and AA and do closed testing, and it's very important that I go ahead and I address this because this will definitely impact the game in how you interact with enemy aircraft, or if you're a CV player, it will significantly impact your play. They're redefining it, they're reworking it a lot. So this is a test. Nothing's final as we go into this development blog. So let's go ahead and dive into it, and I'll talk about what changes are going ahead and take place. Greetings, Captain. Back in December, they made these announcements of their plans to implement significant changes to aircraft carriers. We hope you're ready for more news because we have a boatload of info to share. As a reminder, we'll be conducting our first major closed test on April 16th. Today's April 15th, Monday, as I record this video. So Tuesday, they're going to try out these updates so certain details can and will change as we move through the testing process. So it seems they expect some details. They say can and they say will. So it's kind of okay, yeah, it's kind of saying both. It might change. Oh, it will definitely change. Or it might change, or it definitely will. So I expect, after reading through this development blog, that there will be changes, okay? With that out of the way, let's get down to business. Changes to aircraft carriers. First, some key details. As announced previously, the core of new concept boils down to significantly changing the way that carrier aircraft operate while traveling and attacking. So basically what Wargaming has done is they now have a traveling mode and they have an attack run mode, okay? And there are different things apply depending on what mode you're traveling or attacking in, okay? What mode you're in with your aircraft. So similar to the current implementation, traveling, also known as quote high altitude, is the state at what the aircraft will spend most of the time in as they traverse the map. That's basically before they go into the attack. You know, when you click attack or you double click your left mouse key or whatever, and then part of the planes of the squadron will drop down, and then if any of those planes get shot down, another plane flies up and replaces it, right? So you can never fully negate the first strike unless they just eat all of your flak possible. What will be different? While traveling aircraft, they will not be able to spot enemy ships. So if me, FlimsyLunchTray, flying around on a map while I'm in traveling mode, I can't spot any enemy ships while I'm traveling. This mode is purely just for traveling. If an ally, one of my friends, let's say there's a Holland nearby and he's spotting a Yamato and I'm flying over the Yamato, I will not be targeted by the regular AA fire. The AA of Yamato will not shoot at me. This isn't how do I say this? There's a condition that applies to this, where I think the exceptions will apply with defensive AA fire, I believe it is. So the Yamato can see, will not deplete their boost, so you will be able to fly fast across the entire map, which I kind of have concerns with, because then that means the CV player like me, I'm getting to you faster to make my attacking flight. There's less time in between my attack runs, okay? Can be spotted by enemy ships, so that Yamato I'm flying up on, he can see me once I'm within air detectability range, okay? He knows I'm up there, he can see me. And it says, cannot attack enemy ships or drop ordnance anyway. So when you're in traveling mode, you can't attack, you can't do anything. Enemy ship can see you. He knows you're there. His A won't fire. Now the exceptions apply. with the defensive AA fire. So this means that aircraft carriers must rely on spotting from teammates in order to identify targets. So this means like this is where like submarines and destroyer players are going to have a little bit more. There's going to be a little more coordination of work between you and a CV player, or like me and a destroyer, me and this a submarine player to spot that enemy Yamato. Because when I'm in traveling mode, I can't see him. Carrier squadrons will also have a new consumable called active reconnaissance, and while active, this consumable will provide an indicator if/when aircraft are within range of enemy AA. So that means that enemy Yamato, he has it. Like I can't. Let's say my friendly Holland isn't anywhere nearby. I'm trying to make this attack run on Yamato, but I can't see him because I'm in traveling mode. And when I activate this reconnaissance mode, then all of a sudden it will show that the Yamato, I'm within his 5.8. I think it's a 5.8 AA kilometer attack range. Okay, so I know I'm within his AA range. And it will show it if enemy has used their priority sector. Now this is going to be updated. They're calling it something else now. I think it's called active concealment, which we'll get into. But no, this consumable will not provide an actual spotting or mini-map indicators, and it will not work if an enemy ship has its AA turned off. So like you could activate active reconnaissance. I could activate active reconnaissance because I want to try to find out where this Yamato player is, if I'm close enough to him yet to come out of traveling into my attack run mode. But he knows I'm there. No one else on my team is spotting him, and so he just decides to press the P key, that's the default key, to turn the secondaries and AA off. So then now I can't see him, and I don't actually know if I'm on top of him or nearby him or not. Okay, wait for it, it gets worse. Attack runs, so the other mode. So we've talked about traveling, but how do you actually interact with enemy ships now? Similar to the current implementation, aircraft carriers must start an attack run. While conducting an attack run, aircraft will spot enemy ships. So once I come out of, let's say that Holland player isn't spotting the enemy Yamato, when I come out of traveling mode into attack mode, I will now be able to see the Yamato and his AA. If I'm in his AA range, I will become targetable by AA fire. So AA will open up on me. Now, the new thing is, okay, so now that I'm in my attack run and I'm coming up on him, I will take significantly reduced damage from AA for the first few seconds of my attack run. So let's say I'm in, I'm in midway planes. I will take, there's a reduced damage effect, magic pixie dust, that's protecting me for the first few seconds of my attack run on the enemy Yamato. Now, as I talked about previously, this is a bit of where wargaming likes to make realism arguments, or it's just a video game. Like here I can see there being a realism argument with this historically, right? So let's say there's a Douglas dive bomber going in for attack run on the Yamato, and the AA gunners, they're taking a few seconds, they're trying, or maybe 10-15 seconds, and they're trying to adjust their AA fire as they kind of figure out how fast the Douglas dive bomber is descending upon them, his speed, how to more accurately aim and like lead him well. That makes sense to me, okay? But it's very strange to me how wargaming will take, well, it's realism, right? They're helping the aircraft, they're helping me and my CV planes out, and reducing, taking as much damage as I make my attack run. But at the same time, like the amount of BS and like things that don't make sense with carriers in the game, like I can repair my aircraft while flying in the air by pressing a magical consumable key. My CV can't detonate. You know, because that's not historically accurate at all. Yeah, there's just, or there's a skill that gets my planes back sooner to my ship or slower back to my ship, right? It's just that realism historical argument is just really strange here when wargaming decides to choose either hat. It will deplete their boost as usual. So if I use my engine boost at that point where I'm in attack run, I will actually deplete my engine boost at that point. And I can attack enemy ships. So that's kind of the main differences between those two. Now, compared to the current implementation, there are some additional key differences. Preparation time for attack runs has been increased to prevent them from simply attacking starting an attack right above the ship and avoiding most of the AA. So let's say, as an example, well, I think what they're saying here is I can't, in my midway planes, as I'm just about to like have the perfect strike on Yamato, I can't simply switch out of, because my friendly Holland is now spotting Yamato. I can't just flip out of traveling mode into attack run and instantly launch my attack and take practically no AA damage, okay? They're increasing the attack run, the preparation time, to avoid that. That's my understanding of this. Planes will, however, not have reduced maneuverability during the attack preparation time, which will make it a bit easier for the carrier to strike when there are no allies nearby to spot the target. So, like, my friendly Holland isn't spotting the enemy Yamato. I come out of a traveling mode to attack run. I see where Yamato is, so then I go into my attack mode, but because I don't get penalized on my maneuverability, because like right now, if I'm dropped down in torpedo bombers in midway, my planes can't fly, so they don't have the same maneuverability of like right to left as they do when I'm just not in the midst of my attack run. They're taking that away. Now I can be much more maneuverable, which is kind of, I question, because like Nakimov players, like they can do such an easy like 90-degree turn. I think even FDR, like I've been surprised. Like I'll see an attack run of the torpedo bombers from FDR, and I'm like, how is that guy like having that much maneuverability and getting more of a side drop on me, right? So they're eliminating that penalty, so to speak, if they do follow through with these changes. Additionally, attack runs will only consist of one attacking flight, while the rest of the squadron will remain at high altitude and will not receive AA fire. More on this later. Any planes that are destroyed in the attack run will not be replaced, meaning that shooting down planes will directly reduce the damage dealt by the attack. If the entire attack flight is destroyed, the run is aborted, and then you would probably just go back up to the remaining planes at high altitude. Unless you have no planes, then you would spawn back at the carrier. So if there are planes high above you, which I guess their argument here is, oh, they're too far out of your AA reach, right? Their elevation is too far up. You couldn't even shoot them anyhow. Okay. Realism, historical accuracy, I can kind of get that, but hold on to that, because Wargaming is they're going mad with the Pixie dust in this possible, in this dev blog and possible aircraft carrier in AA changes. As you see more on this later. But it's nice that the planes won't be replaced if, like, so me and my midway, the enemy Yamato player shoots down all but one of my planes. I only get to drop one drop from my torpedo bombs, right? So now he's not going to take as much damage. So that's nice, okay? Secondaries. While not controlling aircraft carriers will now be able to manually control their secondary battery. In the case of carriers with mixed secondary armaments, they will control the largest caliber guns. So if you had like 150s and let's say 127s, you're only going to be able to control the 150s. As it says here, they'll become the main caliber ones. So when I say main caliber ones, I'm like, wait, are they talking about like this is now your main battery, right? But while operating aircraft, all guns will be aimed and fired automatically as usual. So if you have a destroyer running up on you as an aircraft carrier player, like that Marceau, Clubber, whatever, now you can try to take more control and deal with them, which is nice in the sense that it's a distraction to the enemy CV player, but he's not getting attacks with his flights on other parts of the map, as an example. If he's even aware of it. Don't even get me started on that. Okay, now here come the changes to surface ships. So those are the key changes for how aircraft carriers will operate. But what about surface ships? We have some substantial changes coming to the way that surface ships interact with aircraft through anti-air batteries. Okay, so if you thought the Pixie dust was strong when what I've already gone over already, it's gonna get even stronger now. Okay, first off, defensive AA fire. We mentioned earlier that aircraft in travel mode will be untargetable by AA. Well, here's the exception. Here's where the magic Pixie dust comes into effect. While defensive AA fire is active, your AA batteries will be able to target enemy planes even while they are flying over you at high altitude. So now those planes at high altitude, if you're a ship that has defensive AA, which like Yamato does not, but something like Salem does, if there's, let's say I'm in Salem, and there's an enemy Nakhimov flying high above me, and he's in traveling mode, and I can see him, but he can't see me because I'm not spotted by any of his allied ships, right? Just try to keep that all in mind. Then I can activate my defensive AA, and then start shooting his planes that are at high altitude, which originally I couldn't touch before just because I have this consumable, this magic consumable. I've activated my magic pixie dust, because now I can affect them at high altitude. However, while active, planes at high altitude, which are under fire, will be able to spot you in return. So that's now you're being penalized for using defensive AA fire to shoot down the enemy. I'm being penalized for wanting to shoot down an enemy Nakhimov planes, because now he can spot me, which means his allies can shoot at me if there's like an enemy Yamato in the distance or whatever, and then he can go in for an attack run, or he'll simply fly away from my AA bubble, out of my AA range, which on Salem is 5.8 kilometers, and then my AA, I won't be able to shoot him, and then it should be you immediately go dark. Like, no one can spot me now, because that enemy Nakhimov planes have exited my AA range of another at 6 kilometers. Maybe it's kind of a phase for like a second or two, but then I should be dark again. So with these changes, we're also renaming this consumable to Barrage Fire. Why do you need to change the name? Why? Is it just because now that you've changed how the skill works a little bit, and now change the name? Like there's already so many changes with this. I think for me, if I was a part of the team making these decisions, I'd be like, okay, I think we can still leave defensive AA fire consumable name the same. There doesn't really seem to be a reason to change that because we're making all these other changes on players. Let's not complicate things further. That's just a thought. This is probably the best pixie dust magic you're going to see right here in the form of Priority Sector. Priority Sector is receiving some major changes and will be renamed to Active Concealment. Similar to the Priority Sector, Active Concealment can be activated with the press of a button, and it takes effect within your anti-air range. So you can activate it. Okay, let me keep reading first. When activated, it will instantly deal a certain percentage of squadron's health and damage when it enters the AA fire. Okay, so let's back up here and just kind of go over this first part. Okay, so they're changing the name of Priority Sector to now Active Concealment, which for default key would be pressing your O key, right, and that gives you like a buff and damage of continuous AA damage and that, and then with your flak, when an enemy CV is making an attack run on you. Now it's going to be called Active Concealment. So they're playing on this is going to be now more of a concealment-oriented measure, I guess you would say. And so similar to the current Priority Sector, Active Concealment can be activated with the press of a button, and it only takes effect within your anti-air range. When activated, it will instantly deal a certain percentage of squadron's health and damage when it enters the AA fire. Additionally, Active Concealment will cause enemy aircraft within range to become unable to spot, hence where Active Concealment comes into play here. So if I'm in... let's go back to that beginning example. I'm in my midway planes. I've come out of traveling mode. I'm now in my attack run on enemy Yamato. And then as I've just entered his AA range, he's already activated. That's going to be key, what I just said there. Before I entered his AA range, he's activated his Active Concealment. And now I can't see him. Okay? So I would need my friendly Holland player nearby to spot him. Because if there's no one else spotting that enemy Yamato I'm dropping, and he activates his Active Concealment, then I can't see him. Okay, so I need friendly Holland player, please spot the enemy Yamato as I make this drop. As I said earlier, this Carrier rework, AA rework, really seems to be like they're trying to make Carrier players a little more interaction between maybe sub players and destroyer players, as an example. And you remember that damage reduction we talked about in the beginning? Well, now they're taking that away. The effect will also negate the damage reduction that planes receive in the first seconds of their attack run. So now you've kind of thrown out the whole realism historical argument, if they were making one here, that, you know, it's going to take your AA gunners, historically speaking, it took them about 5, 10, 15, maybe 30 seconds to get more of an accurate fire and more consistent damage on the enemy planes that were attacking their ship. Okay, now you've thrown it out the window because all I did was push a button. All I did was activate my magic pixie dust. So then now I will do full-on damage when that, now that Yamato player will do full-on damage to me as soon as they enter his AA range. Okay? Now, however, there's a but, okay? Buts with wargaming. It is important to note that this should be used preemptively. So that Yamato player needs to activate his party sector, his active concealment, preemptively, and not once I'm already in the AA bubble, because the effect will only trigger on me, the enemy planes of Midway, if I've entered the AA while the effect is active. If he activates active concealment, he presses the O key, once I've already entered, like, let's say he activates it once I'm at 5.6 kilometer away from him on my attack run. If he activates it, it's useless. That defensive measure he took doesn't count because he didn't activate it before I entered his AA range. Hence, preemptively, the Yamato player must activate active concealment before I enter his AA bubble for this skill to work. Okay? It's right, like, if the plane's already in the AA zone and the effect is activated, it will not block their ability to spot. So, it will not negate the AA damage reduction, and it will not apply that percentage of damage to the squadron. Good timing will be critical to effective use of this ability. Effectively use, yeah, I read that wrong. Good timing will be critical to effective use of this ability. Magic pixie dust. Okay, magic pixie dust. And we're not done yet, guys. We're not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. Passive increase to AA. We're not... yeah, that's the... We're not done yet. All the surface ships will receive a new passive way to deal with enemy planes while targeting you while there are planes in your AA zone. Passive increase is a meter that will charge up while your AA is shooting enemy aircraft. Okay, so I don't know. I'm guessing this is going to be visible on your screen. You're going to get a little meter, maybe something similar to some of the like burst fire mode. You have to have so many hits before you can activate that, and there's a little meter. Maybe it's going to be down on the bottom left next to your ship info. I don't know, like your HP. Maybe it's in the center of your screen. I don't know. While your AA is active, this meter is going to build while you're shooting enemy aircraft. Your progress is not time limited, meaning that even if the AA does not shoot enemy aircraft for a certain period of time, progress will stay the same and it will not decay. Okay, so this is different from some of those other gimmick buttons. So if let's say I get my meter to 50% and I haven't seen, I'm in Salem and I haven't seen that enemy Nakimov player for the last 2 minutes, that progress meter is going to stay the same. It's not going to go away. It's not going to decrease like main battery secondary skill on your commander, where I think like after 15 seconds it starts decreasing, if I remember right, where you begin to lose that accuracy bonus. But once your progress reaches 100%, the passive increase will be automatically activated and you will receive the following perks for a period of time. Now, they're not saying how long. I'm guessing they're going to test this and see. But the bonuses, the perks, the magic pixie dust at work here is that there is a bonus to your AA damage. There is a bonus to the damage caused by active concealment, formerly known as priority sector. And there's a reduction in the active concealment cooldown. So your priority sector comes off cooldown a little bit faster during the period of time of which the passive increase to the AA is active and working. Additionally, this passive increase will not reset if you disable your AA. So if I turn my AA off, let's say I'm in Salem and that Nakimov player, no one's spotting me on his enemy team, and he's trying to find me, and I've turned my AA off, it won't reset. My progress meter, or the fact that the skill is active, just because I've turned my AA off. And this is saying it will last for several minutes. So 2, 3, 4 minutes? I don't know. Matches can go pretty quick here in World of Warships, so I'm a little intrigued by that. So this isn't something you manually have to activate. They said they decided to go with an automatic activation of this feature due to the extended length of the action time, as this is supposed to serve as a defensive tool. Hence the extended length of action time. That's their thinking, okay? The effects of this passive mechanic should strongly... I was really messing this up earlier as I'm learning Norwegian, and I want to like put in Norwegian pronunciation on this word. Disincentivize aircraft carriers from relentlessly focusing a single target. Like I was getting like hardcore focused last night when I was playing Schlieffen in Randoms Battle. I think it was by an enemy Nakamov player, and I mean that just sucked. We've already introduced several other active changes for players, and we want to avoid a scenario. Okay, this is a good one. This is a really good one. Okay, they want to avoid a scenario, for example, where all players in an attack path of an enemy CV activate this simultaneously and almost instantly destroy the attack flight. So they don't want you grouping up and you being able to have the power or control to like, hey guys, that enemy Nakamov player is flying by. Let's all activate our passive AA fire bonus now, so we'll just wreck his planes. Now, if that CV, that Nakamov player, is in traveling mode, doesn't matter. But if he's in attack mode flying over you and your friend allies, then you'll be able to affect him, unless your ships all have defensive AA fire, right? It's, yeah. There's all these conditions, right? It's like a magical spell. That's why I keep calling it magical pixie dust. As it is supposed to serve only to disincentivize constant attacks from the aircraft carrier over a longer period of time, not as a general deterrent. Now, this is really intriguing here, okay? So this points back to the days before the CV rework, because I started playing right after the CV rework happened in the fall of 2019, where you had ships on the enemy team that served as a general deterrent. Des Moines were a no-fly zone. I think Minotaurs were also a no-fly zone. So, like, let's say I wanted to attack that enemy Yamato player I keep picking on, and there was a Des Moines sitting next to that enemy Yamato player. I wouldn't attack the Yamato player because the Des Moines would shred my planes, and once you ran out of planes before the before the CV rework, you had no planes. You were useless. Besides, I guess you can make maybe I think carriers had secondaries back then. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But it served as a general deterrent. You can see that from this, Wargaming doesn't want there to be a general deterrent in the game against CV players. They want CV players to be able to attack whomever they want to attack, rather than trying to incentivize, make this incentivization here, as I'm losing train of thought. As the passive AA bonus is, its only purpose is to serve as a disincentivize constant attacks on aircraft carrier over a longer period of time. That is a general deterrent, right? Now here's the kicker. That's all for now. We hope you're as excited as we are to see these changes enter testing, and look forward to updating you as we continue to work on and test the concept. We hope you're as excited as we are. Guys, FlimsyLunchTray here. I hope you're as excited as Wargaming is about this dumpster fire of a possibility that entered this game. It's absurd. It's so much pixie dust. Like, I can't. When I read this through the first time, in the longer video in which I derped and wasn't recording my vocals, my brain hardcore hurt, because I had to actually break this all down as I was reading it to you guys, because it was like my first impressions, right? Now this is like my quote-unquote second impression, so I have my head wrapped around it a little bit more. But I've been doing a lot of work today, and at no point was my brain hurting from all the work until I read this blog, right? Wargaming, you're hurting my brain. Hey, hope you're as excited as Wargaming is about the possibility of these changes to aircraft carriers in AA. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If you actually are excited about these changes and you love this, please let me know in the comments below, whether you're a CV player or you're a player who hates CVs and you just wish them to all die, wish the sky cancer to go away, and you're excited about these changes you're seeing. Let me know in the comments below. But my guess is, I think if I understand the majority of the player base, probably on both parts of perhaps, I definitely would say of the AA, like the ships who are interacting AA against enemy planes, you guys probably aren't very fond of what you're seeing here. And I'm not sure about CV players, but I would kind of guess that maybe you're not as excited about this too, because what they've done is they've taken carrier play and interacting with enemy CVs to a more complex, complicated level. Now you tell me, a new player in the game is supposed to understand all these changes, who've just started playing the game a month ago, and they're figuring the game out, and then now they're really confused of why was it when that Nakimov player attacked me that Yamato in a distance was able to shoot at me, but when I activated my priority AA sector, and they don't know this because it's called active concealment, when I activated on that Nakimov player when he was making his attack run in on me in my Salem, the enemy Yamato didn't shoot me. Like, even though his guns were aimed at me and all this. And like, then he has to go through that mental process of trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And then he's like, oh, it's because my active concealment ran out. It's no longer activated. That's why the enemy Yamato didn't take a shot on me, right? But then, do you, as the enemy Salem player, know, then that doesn't apply if there's an enemy Holland within, let's say, 9 kilometers spotting you. And though you activated your active concealment, or let's say that while that happens, an enemy Holland enters your active spotting, your concealment of, I think, what is it, like 10-8 or something like that? With Salem. Maybe it's 10-4, I can't remember off the top of my head. And he's confused. Why is Yamato shooting at me? I preemptively activated my active concealment, and it's not working. And then once the CV gets on attack, oh, there's an enemy sub, there's an enemy, maybe it's that enemy Holland that's spotting me now. That's why Yamato is able to shoot me. So it's like, there's all these conditions of whether the skill or the defensive measure works or it doesn't work. Whether we're talking about active concealment, you're talking about passive increase to the AA, you're talking about defensive AA fire. It's just not simple. This is a very complicated dev blog. And I'm even saying, as a player who's been playing for 4.5 years, like, this isn't going to be easy at all if they implement these changes for me to adjust to. And I even pointed out earlier, like with the passive increase to the AA, does that mean your passive AA meter will build up when there is an enemy player in a GK who drops step charges on you and you're in a Salem? Or there's an enemy fighter, or there is a spotter plane within your AA range? Does that mean this AA will build up as well, right? And we won't know that yet because this is just a concept and stuff. But this is just so complicated. Isn't there an easier way? Like that's my biggest critique of this dev blog. A score out of like 1 to 10, or if I could say 0 to 10, I still would be nice and say 1, because Wargaming does see that spotting is a challenge. So I give them like the tiniest of thumbs up on that. But then I have like, you know, all these other hands that are popping out with thumbs down to this dev blog. They're making an attempt, but this is just way too complicated. Let's make it more simplistic, right? I've heard a couple of arguments in the community about just make spotting, minimap spotting only, right? So when that enemy, when I in my midway planes attack the Yamato, and Yamato isn't being spotted by any other enemy ships, my teammates can only see on the enemy map that I'm engaging with against an enemy battleship. That's all they know, right? And wouldn't that take away a lot more of the confusion of this? Like, at least try and test out, like, mini-map spotting only. Like, that's probably one of the best things I've heard. Now, you're going to neuter carrier players getting spotting damage, right? That's the negative for CV players, but it's the very pro and positive for surface ship players interacting with enemy aircraft carrier fighter attack players aircraft. I'm gonna make a poll. I'm gonna really try to remember to do this after I wrap up this video, because this is what I'm gonna ask in the poll. Okay, if Wargaming were to go with these changes, this is gonna be a yes or no. Do you think Wargaming will introduce multiple bugs in implementing the aircraft carrier and AA changes? Yes. Oh, they totally will. No, I don't think they will. And then C, I'm unsure. Okay, I'll make that poll. Because anytime Wargaming touches this game and they do any type of rework, they break the game, right? It's still dumb just for me to even think about the camera change. When they changed the camera, how many aiming bugs did they introduce into the game? Like, they broke artillery in the game. Like, you had the railgun bug effect, shooting over islands, like your shells would drop. Like, there was this gravity, like if I shoot, I'm in Yamato and I'm shooting a Salem on the other side of an island, there was this like gravity well from the island that just pulled my shells down as they traveled over the island to try to shoot the Salem, so then your shells would drop short. There was that one bug, I don't remember what they were doing, where if I'm in a Holland and I'm turning to starboard, I'm going right, and I'm dumping off torpedoes off my left side, and I do it as I'm turning, your torpedoes would curve. They wouldn't stay in a straight line. They would actually curve over the distance, and your torpedoes, like torpedoes, for a little bit, you could only like dump torpedoes close range, because otherwise you couldn't guarantee whether you're going to get the hit or not, unless you just had a lot of torpedoes and you flooded the area. I think if you dumped torpedoes, you could not be moving left or right. You had to be straight out. I think even zooming, looking down the torpedo pathing, like they broke a bug with that at the same time. So anytime there's a rework, Wargaming just introduces new bugs. It's insane. Like, there's just so much evidence and proof of that. Like, I'm making a claim, and there's like a lot of reasoning why I make that claim. And I would say yes, Wargaming is going to, if they follow through with these changes, like all they did was fix the camera, and they brought in so many new bugs into the game. And my brain hurts so much that I'm trying to think of other examples of things they broke in the game. I mean, you could even go off of the like Little White Mouse, when they were doing they were changing how the bonus worked on Missouri. And she was like, hey, you make these changes in the form of this combat mission for those players who already had Missouri, like they were going to get this, to still be able to, the concern was, would they lose their big perk bonus on getting the A, not the AA, the credit earning bonus. Hey, are you guys taking these things into account? And as you go to sell Missouri, yes, don't worry about it. What did they do? They messed it up. You were making less money now with Missouri than you were before the change. And that was like, oh shoot, we didn't catch that, despite her actually checking in on that in regards to the player. And then you had, of course, the community contributor rework. Wargaming's like, okay, well, that sucks. Bye, you know. Reworks and Wargaming is like gasoline and fire. They don't mix. So on that cap period, exclamation point, whatever you want to call it, we're going to wrap the video up now. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, maybe I'm just like super naive and I don't know what you guys are thinking anymore, and the majority of you are like really excited for this. Maybe I've completely missed the mark. My guess is that most of you are not, with how this is currently being presented. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm really interested, because as a community and as a content creator, I really like to know what you guys in the community are thinking, and that I'm not just in a padded room with the door locked and I have no idea what the player base is thinking anymore. So if you're excited for this, let me know. If you're not excited for this, also let me know, and maybe you can give some reasonings why you are excited or not excited. But I'll make the poll. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, Give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you to my Patreon supporters, and we'll catch you later. Until next time, take care.